So I just have 10 to 15 minutes. I'll be very brief. I lead a team in Amazon Web Services, and what we do is we help startups scale and grow. We cover the sub-Saharan Africa part of the continent, and I was really excited to come and speak very briefly about some of the things that you can do when you want to build and scale your startup, right? And just for clarity, my name is Napa, not Nepa. No, you can laugh and encourage me. Yeah, so there's a number that's on the screen, and I just want to take a quick poll. It is 6,200%. How many of you think this is maybe an increase in the number of startups on the continent? We'll take a vote. And how many of you think this has to do with funding? So who is voting for number of startups? Who is voting for funding? Okay, so the people that voted for funding actually won this particular quiz. This is the amount that funding has increased in Africa since 2012 to 2022, 6,200. We've seen a number of exits. I don't know how many of you know Flutterwave. Flutterwave is now valued at $3 billion as of last year. They had their Series D funding of $250 million. We also had Paystack that was acquired by Stripe for $200 million. Who knows Paystack here as well? Awesome. We also have Jumia. So the environment for startups is very exciting, and I really like the fact that before my presentation I was asked what's the difference between an SME and a startup. But you know the thing, what I find with founders is when they hear these stories, they hear $200 million, they hear $250 million, they hear $3 million. How many of you are feeling your blood kind of ginger inside and say, I'm going to do the next fintech that will do 6 billion transactions? The truth is, the life of a founder is not like the person on the left. Who knows who that is? Who is that? It's R&D. Isn't he fresh as he is? He's a whole vibe, right? So this is how people think founders look. You wear the fantastic black t-shirt with your logo, right? Your black beads, You wear your sneakers, maybe your Jordans, your J's. You're flying to Barcelona to sit on a panel. You're being interviewed by Tech Cabal, right? Is that how we see our startup founders? Sometimes you go and purchase properties in different areas. The truth is, the life of a founder is not an easy life, right? You wear a lot of hats. You don't have a lot of time. You're managing a lot of resources, and then sometimes you don't even have cash to get things done. So there's something called the founder's mindset. You have to be very resilient. You have to be able to build, manage, and work with a team. And you know, because people are always trying to be R&D on the left, the tendency is they look at things that don't mean anything at the beginning of the journey. This is a tweet I like very much. Things you don't need to launch your product is a great name, a one-word domain, a beautiful logo, a fantastic website, perfect code. The thing you need to start a startup is a product that solves a problem. So there was a startup I was consulting for. We spent, no, let me not say we, before you think I'm not competent. They spent 4 months putting together a logo. They hired a consultant. He was doing color wheel for us. I told them I can't work with you guys because the logo doesn't mean anything. But guys, can I tell you the funniest part of the story? 2 months after they signed off on the logo, the startup folded up, because they spent all the time on the logo. So another quote that I love is from Reid Hoffman. He's the co-founder of LinkedIn. And this says, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late. That means when you have your idea and you want to put your product together, you don't have to wait until it's absolutely perfect. People forget that a lot of the companies, organizations, startups we see today started with something in a garage. Apple started in a garage. Does anybody know any other company that started in a garage? Google started in a garage. Anyone else? Yes. Amazon. No, Amazon didn't start in a garage. Let me not misrepresent my company. before they will now take my Amazon card away from me. But, but a lot of times you have to start small, okay? So the question now is, you have the founder's mindset. You've decided you're going to start small. How do you start building? This is a question I always ask first-time founders. Do you know a secret? Now, this secret is something either by your position or by observation you have learned about an industry or a product. Somebody that comes to mind that knows a secret is Paystack. Shola is the co-founder of Paystack. Now, when Shola started his journey, he was building software for banks. And he found from the software he built that he was able to make a charge on the software, right? Now, it may look like what he did wasn't revolutionary, him and Ezra, when they started Paystack. But I know that when one of my first startups that I worked on was before we had any of the payment platforms. For the startup, we built a project team. Remember startup, we don't have time, resources, and we don't have money. We built a project team. The company that was integrating payments into our site built a project team. We were meeting every week. It took us 8 weeks to integrate payments, and it was only for that platform, and it cost us 150,000 naira. Now you can integrate a payment on an e-commerce site almost immediately, right? So that was the secret he knew. I wouldn't have had access to this information because I wasn't close enough. The next thing is, do you have leverage to capitalize on the secret? Leverage is simply how are you uniquely positioned to be able to provide a solution that will solve the problem that you have identified through your secret, right? So coming back to Paystack, Shola was working with banks, so he understood the system. And then Ezra, his co-founder, had worked in tech. Shola was a second-time founder. So I hope you guys are with me so far. You have to make sure that you're not building for competition or to chase competition. Then you're just reacting and you're not proactive, okay? The thing we're going to talk about now is scale. And this is something that is challenging for a lot of people to understand, because when you think scale, you're thinking growth in a startup. And a startup usually has 3 key stages. You have your development. That's when you're building that first product that may not look pretty, but what you're trying to do is to make sure you get to market, get to your customers as quickly as possible. The second stage is scale, and the last stage is growth. Now, scale is really optimizing your product or service so as many people can access it as possible. But before you even start thinking of scaling, you need to make sure that you have found product market fit. How many of you have heard of this term? Yes? Is it okay if somebody from the audience defines it? Yes? Do you mind defining it, sir? Oh, can you define product market fit in as small terms as possible?
So in small terms, I feel that product market fit is your product's ability to gain acceptance in the market. Yeah.
I like the yeah. You can put your hands together for him. For those of you not clapping, may you not be on the stage and nobody will clap for you. Thank you, clap for him. So there's somebody I respect so much in the startup space. His name is Mike Sybil, and he's one of the co-founders of the largest accelerators in the world, the foremost accelerator. They invested in Airbnb, they invested in Paystack. This is how Michael defines product market fit, and it's exactly in line with what he said. He said, my definition of product market fit is you are drowning in demand. Your product is being used by so many customers that you cannot handle all the new people knocking at your door. This is when you know you've achieved product market fit, right? Now, what most people think is that my product needs to be popular for me to get to this stage. The truth is, if your product or service is solving a problem for someone, they're going to tell somebody that has the same problem. You need to turn your customers from fans to full-blown ACs. That's what you need to do. And it's only if you're solving a problem that is key to them. So, I don't know how many of you use Canva here. Okay, how many of you used to use Photoshop before you started using Canva? I see y'all. I don't know if you have ever gone online and seen the memes about Canva. There was a time somebody asked me if I'm a graphic designer. I said yes. He said, what tool do you use? I said Canva. And he gave me, as Nigerians say, bombastic side eye. But Canva now averages 135 million users every month. And this was an organization that wasn't considered to be any sort of player in the graphic user space. For some of you here, I don't know if you remember when you're doing an event, you get a graphic designer. The graphic designer will tell you it's 40,000 naira, and then he's supposed to deliver or she in 2 days. He'll deliver or she in 1 week. And then when you want something changed, it takes forever. How did Canva go from being zero to being a superhero? How did they do it? This is exactly what we're going to demonstrate in terms of finding a problem or knowing a secret, having the leverage, and then being able to scale. And remember, scale isn't growth. Scale is making sure that your system is such that you can have as many users on it as possible. So it's referring more to optimization. So some of you have businesses or startups that if you leave the startup for 1 week, business is not going to run. You have not scaled your business. Or your customers still have to go through 5-6 steps to be able to access your service. You have not scaled. So you have to make sure you find product market fit before you scale. That means you're getting so much volume that you are able to now optimize the process. Just one last thing. Is anybody a Marvel fan here? DC or Marvel? Marvel. Thank you. Thank you for validating me. So what was the secret for Canva? The founder, Melanie Perkins, she was a student in university and she was teaching some of her classmates how to use some of the photo editing software that was out there. And they kept on giving feedback that it was very, very challenging to use. She knew a secret. She understood that it wasn't just education that was making people use a platform. What they wanted was ease of use. So Melanie founded something called Fusion Books. Fusion Books was a way for students that were in the university to do digital yearbooks at low cost. During that time of Fusion Books, she was finding product market fit with her founders. And then Canva was founded in 2007, and then the product market fit and public launch was 2013. So they took their time, and how they were able to scale is user-centric design. For those of you that use it, you understand that there are quite a number of features that they bring on board over time, and then talent acquisition and funding. Now, as of last year, they are valued at 26. Is that billion or million? Can you help me see? Billion. Is that billion? Billion. I wasn't too sure. So, it's 9 zeros, right? The truth is, they can have as many people that are in Nigeria on their platform, and nothing will happen to it. So a couple of things I want you to think about as you start thinking of preparing your business for growth by scaling it is always make sure your customers are front and center. And people always say things around customer first, customer centric. How I see it is you need to be the one that sees what your customer potentially will want in a few years. That is how you stay ahead of the game. In AWS, 90% of the products and services that we offer our customers were from customer requests. The remaining 10% is things that they couldn't articulate. And Amazon is known for this. We are customer obsessed. I encourage you to do that, to learn your customer behaviors and make sure that you're optimizing for them. The second thing is your distribution model. I see this sometimes, when a startup is coming, your customer has to go through 4 or 5 steps to complete something. That means you haven't optimized for scale. Whether it's a physical product or a digital product, use your customer behaviors and see how you can make things easier for your customers to get to the solution that your product or service provides. And partnerships. When people think partnerships, they think of maybe as a fintech, you're partnering with a bank to be able to leverage their license or their services. For example, in Amazon Web Services, if you partner with us, we're able to help you with your go-to-market strategy. If you want to be introduced to an enterprise customer, we're able to support you as well. Remember what I said about scale, being able to optimize processes. There is a product called AWS Marketplace that helps you put your digital product on a marketplace and sell anywhere in the world without having to set up a legal entity, without having to set up any bank account. Explore your partnerships. There's a lot of value in partnerships from the product standpoint, from the customer standpoint. And then hire talent. There's a point in your startup that you can no longer borrow pose with people. You have to look for experience. You're going to have to look for people that understand what they need to do. And look at some of the biggest startups that have scaled successfully and are now growing exponentially. Talent is a big part. Experience and skill. And then marketing, we all know this. The more people know about your product, the better. However, as I partner with startups more and more, I really value customers giving you good referrals. Providing such an excellent service, your customers become your primary marketing tool. But here, there's a lot that you need to dive into in terms of cost of acquisition, the lifetime value of your customer. And then the big topic in the room is money, right? You want money to be able to scale. So say, for example, you found a product that cures balding in a man or a woman, I don't know. And you found the secret formula and you're able to sell it. You now have so many orders, you don't know what to do with it. You found product market fit. You now want to scale. So instead of doing the orders through WhatsApp, you want to build a website and you need funding. One of the most powerful things you can show with funding is traction. That is it. You need to show that actually there are people that have this product or service has solved the problem for them, right? And then network. Now don't network like you're RMD, okay? Because I see some founders, all I see them is in events and programs, meeting people. They will shake hands with this senator, shake hands with this. Who is building your company? So make sure your networking is very intentional, right? And then also leverage accelerators. Accelerators don't make you successful. However, they do provide a lot of benefits. In AWS, we have our startup loft that gives you free access to AWS services up to a certain value as you're trying to get your product market fit, right? And then the next thing is use your partnerships. So we also introduce some of our high growth startups to VCs and ask to see if they would fit into their funding model. And if you want to speak with me, these are my details. I do startup consulting hours for free, I think 1 hour every week. Thank you.
Thank you so